morning traffic roared past like a restless river, and in that noise, compassion often drowned before it could surface. He was already late, already tired, already carrying the invisible weight of years that had taught him how to survive by looking straight ahead and never slowing down. That was when it happened, the one small moment that would split his life into before and after. He walked faster, holding his son's hand tighter, pretending not to see the figure crouched near the sidewalk with worn clothes and hollow eyes. He ignored the beggar the same way he had learned to ignore his own past, but his son didn't. The boy stopped. He looked back, and with a voice steady enough to stop time, he said the words that would shatter everything his father believed he knew about loss, love, and survival. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected moments to change lives, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may need them most. The man had not always been this way. There was a time when he noticed everything, when he believed the world was softer than it really was. Back then, he was not a single dad. He was a husband with plans, dreams, and a future that felt stable enough to lean on. But life has a way of quietly rearranging itself when you're not looking. One hospital room, one unanswered phone call, one long night that never ended the way it was supposed to. When his wife disappeared from his life, not with a funeral but with silence, the kind that offers no closure, he learned how to harden himself. He told himself she had chosen to leave. He told himself it was easier not to ask why. He told himself his son didn't need the truth, only stability. Raising a child alone had taught him efficiency over empathy. Every day was a calculation of time, money, energy. He worked long hours, returned to a small apartment that echoed with responsibility, and fell asleep exhausted. He loved his son deeply, but love was something he expressed through routine rather than warmth. He believed protecting his child meant shielding him from the world's cruelty, not exposing him to it. That was why he never stopped for beggars. He believed pity was dangerous. He believed slowing down could pull you into problems you couldn't afford. The beggar on the sidewalk that morning looked like so many others he had trained himself not to see. Clothes frayed to threads, hair matted with dust, a body folded inward as if trying to disappear. To him, it was just another reminder of how close life could push you to the edge. He tightened his grip on his son's hand and kept walking, but the child's small fingers slipped free. The man felt the sudden absence and turned around with irritation rising in his chest, ready to scold, ready to pull his son back into motion. What he saw instead made his breath catch. His son was standing still, staring at the woman on the ground with an intensity that didn't belong to a child his age. There was no fear in his eyes, only recognition, something deeper than memory, something instinctive. The boy's face softened, his shoulders slackened, and in that moment, the man felt a strange chill crawl up his spine. The city noise faded into a dull hum as his son said the words that made his knees weak. He said that the woman was his mother. At first, the man's mind rejected it completely. Shock has a way of protecting you from reality, wrapping truth in disbelief so it doesn't crush you all at once. He told himself children imagine things. He told himself grief can create illusions. But as he looked closer, really looked, something inside him cracked. Beneath the dirt and exhaustion, beneath the years carved into her face, there were features he had once traced with love. The curve of her brow, the familiar shape of her hands, the scar near her wrist that no amount of time could erase. The world tilted. He dropped to his knees without realizing it. The pavement cold beneath him. Years of anger, confusion, and unresolved pain rushed back like a flood breaking through a dam. He had mourned her in private, convinced she had abandoned him. He had cursed her absence during sleepless nights and blamed himself during quiet mornings. But here she was, alive, broken, and unrecognizable, yet undeniably real. The truth revealed itself slowly, painfully. She had not left by choice. She had fallen through cracks he never knew existed. A series of misfortunes. A fragile mind pushed beyond its limits. A system that looks away when someone falls too far. She had been living day to day, surviving moment to moment, carrying the weight of a past she could barely remember clearly. The man realized with crushing clarity that while he had been building walls to survive, she had been fighting just to stay alive. His son stood between them, a fragile bridge connecting two broken adults. The child's certainty cut through the confusion. He did not see shame or failure. He saw a mother. He saw belonging. Children recognize love the way animals sense danger instinctively, without logic, without judgment. That realization humbled the man more than any hardship he had faced. Taking her home was not a heroic decision. It was terrifying. It meant reopening wounds he had carefully stitched shut. It meant explaining to his son truths he had hoped to delay. It meant inviting chaos into a life built on control. But it also meant choosing compassion over fear, help over resentment. The apartment that had once felt small now felt like a sanctuary struggling to expand. The days that followed were heavy. Healing is not cinematic in real life. It is slow and awkward and often uncomfortable. There were moments when he doubted himself, moments when he wondered if love could survive so much damage. There were setbacks and silences and long nights filled with uncertainty. But there were also small miracles, shared meals, quiet mornings, a child's laughter breaking through tension like sunlight through clouds. The woman began to remember, not all at once, not clearly, but enough. She remembered holding her son as a baby. She remembered the man she once loved. She remembered the fear that had driven her away from everything familiar. With each memory came tears, not of weakness, but of grief and relief intertwined. She was not returning to the person she had been. She was becoming someone new. shaped by pain but still capable of love. The man learned something unexpected about himself during those weeks. He learned that strength was not the absence of feeling but the willingness to feel deeply despite fear. He learned that protecting his son did not mean hiding him from reality but teaching him how to face it with compassion. He learned that forgiveness is not something you give for someone else's sake, but for your own survival. As time passed, the city outside continued its relentless pace. But inside their small home, something softened. Trust rebuilt itself in fragments. Hope took root quietly. The boy thrived, surrounded by a love that, though imperfect, was fiercely real. He watched his parents navigate unfamiliar territory with courage, learning from them what resilience truly looks like. Near the end of this journey, as life slowly settled into a new rhythm, the man found himself thinking about that morning on the sidewalk. How close he had come to walking past his own miracle. How easily he could have missed the moment that changed everything. He realized how many lives pass by unnoticed every day. How many stories wait behind tired eyes and outstretched hands. If this story has touched your heart even a little, if it made you pause and think about compassion, forgiveness, or the power of second chances, please take a moment now to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive and reaching others who may need them. Before the ending, we have one special request for you. Please comment below with a single word that represents what this story made you feel. It could be hope, forgiveness, love, or even pain. Your words matter more than you know. In the end, this is not a story about a beggar or a sidewalk or a moment of shock. It is a story about seeing, truly seeing. It is about understanding that life can reduce people to shadows, but love has a way of pulling them back into the light. It is about a child whose innocent certainty restored a family, and a man who learned that ignoring pain does not make it disappear, it only delays a healing. The man still walks those streets every day. He still feels the weight of responsibility, but now, when he sees someone sitting on the ground with nothing but hope in their eyes, he slows down because he knows that behind every ignored face is a story, and sometimes, that story is closer to home than you could ever imagine.